Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut for getting up to speed on the big shifts happening around us. Technology, as you know, is just moving so fast, reshaping everything, and healthcare. Well, it's right there in the thick of it. So today we're going deep into something really critical. High stakes even, artificial intelligence, and its, frankly, groundbreaking role in nursing. We're basing our chat today on a really insightful article, The Essentials of AI in Nursing. It's by Jennifer Shepard, who's VNA Vice President, quite accomplished. And this piece is part of a larger series.
Yeah, and it's vital stuff. The scale here is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing if you look at the global AI and healthcare market. It was already valued at, USD 22.45 billion in 2023. But the projection, that's where it gets really interesting. It's expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate, that's CAGR, of 36.4% between 2024 and 2030. So this isn't just, cool tech theory. It's a huge expanding sector that's genuinely changing patient care, the whole healthcare economy, like right now.
Exactly. So our mission for you today, we want to unpack the fundamentals of AI in nursing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll define it, look at its history, which is actually pretty surprising, see how it's being used today, and really help you grasp why all this matters for healthcare's future, and especially for nurses. Now, for those of you already deep in health tech, some of this might be familiar, but let's just quickly get on the same page with definitions. Artificial intelligence, AI. At its core, it's about machines designed to simulate human intelligence.
Right. And the real engine behind a lot of the progress we see, especially lately, is machine learning, ML. The key thing here is that these systems learn from data. They get better over time without someone having to explicitly program every single step. They adapt.
And that adaptability, that's where it gets really powerful, doesn't it? Machine learning is basically driven by these complex algorithms. They let computers spot patterns, make predictions, and adjust as they get more information. You actually interact with this all the time. Think about Netflix or Spotify suggesting things you might like, or Amazon. Those recommendations, they're powered by algorithms learning from what you do. Now imagine applying that same power to predict, say, when a patient might decline, or to figure out the best treatment path. That's the kind of impact we're talking about.
Exactly right. And this learning, it generally falls into three buckets: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. But the goal for all of them is basically the same. Get machines to take what they learn from specific examples and apply it more broadly, to generalize, pushing towards, more autonomy and smarter problem solving.
Okay, so to really get a handle on AI's impact, and frankly, to talk about it effectively in healthcare settings, you need to know the language. Let's quickly cover some key terms you'll definitely hear.
Yeah, knowing these it's indispensable, really, especially for communication between, say, nurse leaders, data scientists, the whole team trying to innovate. So first up, algorithm. Think of it like a recipe, a very specific set of rules a computer follows for a task. Processing data, making predictions, and learning. That's key. Then there's deep learning. This is a specific type of machine learning. It uses these things called neural networks with lots of layers to learn really complex patterns and massive data sets, which brings us to the neural network. It's basically a computing system modeled kind of loosely on the human brain. Artificial neurons passing info along. Deep learning uses these. Okay, training. This is just the process of teaching the model. You feed it data, let it make predictions, see how it did, and tweak its settings, its parameters to get more accurate. And finally, inference. This is when you use the trained model. So training is teaching it, inference is putting it to work on new, unseen data to make predictions or analyses, like looking at a new patient's scan.
It really is amazing how these pieces built up over time. Let's maybe take a step back for a second. What's the history here? Where did AI in healthcare even start?
Well, the early days, AI started showing up mainly as rule-based systems, expert systems. They were mostly aimed at helping with diagnosis or planning treatments based on predefined rules.
Yeah, and the source mentions this really fun, almost quirky early example. Back in 1950, apparently, one of the first practical AI applications was a remote-controlled mouse. It learned to navigate a maze and remember the path out. Seems simple, but that basic learning and memory, that was foundational, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It set a precedent.
Yeah.
Then, fast forward to the 1970s, you start seeing computer-aided diagnosis emerge more seriously. AI algorithms started crunching medical data to help doctors make decisions, a big step up in analytical power.
And it wasn't just about diagnosis, right? It moved into image analysis, too.
Yeah.
Like X-rays, CT scans.
Exactly. Systems began helping interpret those medical images. You can imagine the potential for efficiency even back then.
So these early steps, from that maze-running mouse to analyzing scans, They really laid the groundwork.
They absolutely did. They were crucial for the evolution we're seeing now, the way AI is really starting to transform nursing practice and patient care today.
Okay, so bringing it to the present, how has AI become such an integral part of modern nursing? What does that actually look like on the ground?
Well, nursing leaders have really leaned into AI, especially in areas like predictive analytics, trying to foresee patient issues, also in creating more personalized treatment plans, and importantly, optimizing workflows, trying to free up nurses' time.
Right, and you mentioned decision support. These AI-powered clinical decision support systems. They're helping nurses make choices based on analyzing huge amounts of data, yeah.
Precisely. They act like an assistant, providing relevant information and insights right when needed. It's about making more informed decisions at the bedside.
So the promise here is better care, less burnout.
Essentially, yes. Enhancing patient care, definitely. Reducing some of the workload pressures, which are immense, and really pushing towards nursing that's more data-driven but still fundamentally patient-centered.
Okay, let's get specific then. What types of AI are really making waves in nursing right now? You mentioned decision support systems, DSS. Can you unpack those a bit more?
Sure. DSS are definitely a cornerstone. They use AI algorithms to sift through tons of data, patient history, research, guidelines to help nurses make sound clinical decisions. Think of them as tools that bring evidence-based insights right into the workflow.
And the source gave some great concrete examples, things like order sets for certain conditions, right? Or documentation templates that kind of guide you, diagnostic help, and those really critical alerts like warnings about potential drug interactions or patient deterioration signs.
Exactly. For nursing leaders, DSS is huge. It helps optimize patient outcomes, make sure best practices are followed, and generally lifts the standard of care.
Okay, shifting gears a bit from data to the physical world, robotics and automation. How are robots playing a role?
Yeah, it's not just science fiction anymore. Robots are assisting with physically demanding tasks, like lifting patients safely. They're also used for things like delivering medications or supplies, and even assisting in some surgical procedures with high precision.
The article mentioned Christianacare using Moxia, a cobot they called it, handling non-clinical tasks, deliveries mostly, which means nurses get more time for actual patient care. That seems like a huge win.
It really is. It shows the synergy. Robots take on the routine, sometimes physically straining or administrative tasks. That improves efficiency, it's safer, and patients benefit because nurses have more time for that human connection for direct care.
Makes sense. Now, another big one, natural language processing, NLP. This seems incredibly relevant given how much nurses have to document.
Oh, absolutely transformative. NLP lets computers understand and analyze human language like all those written nursing notes. It can pull out trends, identify key information, and provide insights from that narrative text, helping tailor care more effectively.
Like the nuance tool mentioned in the source, using speech recognition so nurses can dictate notes instead of typing everything.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. Tools like that directly attack the documentation burden, which is a major source of stress and eats up valuable time. And the payoff is better data accuracy, faster documentation, and just smoother information sharing across the whole care team.
Okay, we've talked about AI helping in the moment, and we're looking back at documentation. What about looking forward? Predictive analytics.
Right. Predictive analytics uses AI to forecast. It looks at historical data, real-time data, and tries to predict potential health outcomes or trends, spotting risks early.
So the impact there is being smarter about resources, knowing who needs closer monitoring.
Yes, precisely. Optimizing how resources are used, improving patient monitoring by flagging at-risk individuals sooner, and generally making care delivery more effective overall.
The key shift, it sounds like, is moving from being reactive, fixing problems after they happen, to being proactive, anticipating needs.
That's the goal. It aligns perfectly with improving patient outcomes and really focusing on preventative care, which is where healthcare increasingly wants to go.
Wow, okay, so we've really covered a lot of ground here. From the basic definitions of AI and ML, getting those key terms down, tracing that surprising history back to, well, maze-solving mice, all the way to these very real practical applications, transforming nursing today, decision support, robotics, NLP, predictive analytics. It's quite a landscape.
It really is. And the main takeaway, I think, for anyone listening is that understanding and really embracing AI's potential isn't just about adopting new technology. It's about fundamentally finding ways to revolutionize patient care, make nursing workflows more manageable, and just elevate the entire healthcare experience for everyone.
So if this deep dive showed us the essentials, as the article puts it, just think about what's next. the deeper applications, the implications that are still unfolding. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As AI gets better at handling data and routine tasks, what new roles will emerge for nurses? What unique human skills will become even more critical at the bedside when you have this incredibly intelligent AI partner? It's a future that's arriving fast.